let's talk about the psychologist Carl Jung. But this isn't going to be some dry academic lecture. See, what's so cool about Jung is that he didn't just create theories. He basically created a practical map for one of the greatest adventures you can possibly take, the journey into your own mind.
Okay, this quote right here, this is the whole ballgame. It's probably Jung's most powerful idea, and it sets the stage for everything we're about to explore. He's saying there's this huge hidden part of us that's secretly steering the ship of our life. And the point of all this inner work, it's about learning to finally grab the wheel yourself.
Yeah, if you've ever felt that way, and I think we all have, then you're in the right place. We're about to explore that hidden territory, and we're going to use Jung's core ideas as our compass. Think of this as your personal guide to the fascinating, sometimes weird, and totally complex landscape of your own mind.
All right, so every journey has to start somewhere. Ours begins on the surface, with the part of ourselves we think we know best, the face we show to the world every single day. So, Jung's first big distinction is all about a simple question. Where do you get your energy? Are you an introvert who recharges by turning inward into your own thoughts and feelings? Or are you an extrovert who gets energized by engaging with the people and the action in the outside world? But Jung didn't just stop there. That's just the first layer. He then added 4 ways we process the world. We take in information through either sensation, what's real, what you can touch and see, or intuition, which is more about seeing patterns and possibilities. And then we make decisions using either thinking, pure cold logic, or feeling, which is all about your personal values.
So, when you combine an attitude, introvert or extrovert, with one of these dominant functions, you get Jung's psychological types. You've probably heard of this system. It's what later inspired things like the Myers-Briggs. And this gives us the starting point on our map, our conscious identity, what Jung called the ego. But listen, this is just the coastline. The real exploration begins when we go deeper.
Okay, now we're going to take our first step off the map's edge. We're heading into the unconscious to meet a figure that is absolutely central to Jung's work, the shadow.
Now, the shadow isn't necessarily evil. That's a huge misconception. Really, it's just everything we've had to push away to fit in. All the stuff we crammed into the basement of our minds to be accepted by our family, our friends, and society. And it's not just bad things like anger or jealousy. It can also be really positive stuff like our artistic talent or our assertiveness that we were taught to suppress. This brings up a really big question, right? If the shadow is unconscious by definition, how on earth do you find it? I mean, how can you become aware of something you spent your entire life hiding, even from yourself?
Well, Jung's answer is this fascinating psychological trick our minds play called projection. Here's the twist. We don't see the shadow in ourselves. We see it reflected back at us in other people, especially in the people who really get under our skin.
And this is where all this theory becomes incredibly practical. You know that one person who drives you absolutely, completely crazy? Or that person you have an obsessive admiration for? Well, for Jung, that intense emotional charge is a clue. It's like a giant, flashing neon sign pointing directly at a part of yourself you've pushed away.
All right, let's venture even deeper now. We're going further into the unconscious to meet a pair of archetypes that have a huge impact on our inner life and especially our relationships.
So, Jung had this idea that our psyche is always trying to create balance. To do that, he proposed that it contains an inner counterpart to our conscious personality. He called this the soul image, and it's all about the archetypal masculine and feminine energies that exist inside all of us. For a man, this inner figure is the Anima, and it embodies so-called feminine qualities like empathy, creativity, and emotion. For a woman, it's the Animus, which embodies masculine qualities like logic, action, and intellect. Now, the key thing to remember is these aren't literal people inside us. They are symbolic energies that really influence who we're attracted to and our own sense of feeling complete. And this isn't some new idea. You see it played out in ancient myths all the time. The story of Cupid and Psyche, for instance, is a perfect story about this inner dance of integrating the masculine and feminine. Getting to know this inner other is a huge step on the path to becoming a whole person.
Okay, so we've mapped our conscious personality, we've met our shadow, and we've encountered our inner soul image. So what's the point? Where is this whole journey supposed to be leading?
For Jung, the ultimate goal is a lifelong process he called individuation. This is the big one. This is the destination on our map. And it's not about becoming perfect or getting rid of all your flaws. It's about becoming whole, authentic, and fully you by bringing all these different parts of yourself together.
Jung famously saw our lives playing out in 2 big stages.
The first half of life is all about building our ego, finding our place in the world, climbing the ladder. But the second half of life, which often kicks off with a midlife crisis, demands a huge shift. It calls for a journey inward, to go back and reclaim all the parts of ourselves we left behind. And this right here, this quote, gets to the absolute heart of individuation. Wholeness isn't about getting rid of our dark side. It's about consciously knowing it's there and integrating it. True psychological strength, Jung believed, comes from owning our full, messy, complex humanity.
In the end, Jung's map doesn't give you all the answers. It's not like there's a final destination that you just arrive at. What it does give you is a compass, a way to orient yourself for what is truly the most important exploration you can ever undertake, the one within yourself. So the only real question left is, what will you discover next?